Buenos Aires, May 11th, 1960. A man steps off a bus at the corner of Garibaldi Street. His name is Ricardo Clement. At least, that's what his identity papers say. But the team of men watching him from a parked car knows differently. They know him as Adolf Eichmann, the architect of the Holocaust's logistics, the man who organized the deportation of millions to their deaths. The operation to find him began years earlier, when a half-blind Holocaust survivor named Lothar Hermann, living in Argentina, heard his daughter mention that a boy she was dating had boasted about his father's Nazi past. Hermann alerted authorities, but no one acted. So he wrote to Fritz Bauer, a German prosecutor, who secretly passed the information to Israeli intelligence. The Mossad would have to act where others wouldn't. By early 1960, Mossad agents had confirmed it. The balding, bespectacled man living in a modest house on Garibaldi Street was indeed Adolf Eichmann, the SS Obersturmbannführer who had once sat in his Berlin office coordinating train schedules, deportation quotas, and death. The man who had told his subordinates to work efficiently, to make the machinery of genocide run on time. Isser Harel, the head of Mossad, codenamed the mission Operation Finale. He handpicked a team of 11 agents. They arrived in Buenos Aires in early May, posing as businessmen, tourists, and couples. They rented safe houses, studied Eichmann's routine, and waited for the right moment. Everything had to be perfect. One mistake, and Eichmann would vanish again. The plan was simple, but dangerous. They would snatch him off the street as he walked home from the bus stop. No guns, no noise. They had to take him alive. Israel wanted him to stand trial, to face his victims, to let the world hear what he had done. Argentina hadn't responded to extradition requests, so Israel would take him anyway. For days, the team watched. Eichmann kept a predictable schedule. Every evening, he took the same bus, got off at the same stop, and walked the same dark road home. The street was isolated, unpaved, with no witnesses. It was their best chance. May 11th. The team takes position. 2 cars wait on Garibaldi Street. Inside one, agents dressed in mechanics' overalls pretend to fix the engine. The hood raised as cover. In the other car, more agents wait, tense and ready. The plan is to grab him quickly, push him into the car, and drive to the safe house. They have minutes, maybe seconds. The bus arrives. Eichmann steps off. He begins his walk home, his footsteps echoing in the quiet evening. The agents watch him approach. Their hearts pound. One of them, Zvi Aharoni, later recalled the moment, seeing the man responsible for so much death, walking casually, as if he were just another commuter heading home for dinner. Eichmann reaches the spot. The agents spring into action. 2 men rush forward and grab him. Eichmann gasps, starts to cry out. They wrestle him toward the car. For a moment, everything hangs in balance. What if he fights? What if someone sees? What if the car won't start? But the training holds. They force him into the back seat, one agent diving in after him, pressing him down. The second car pulls up as backup. Within seconds, both vehicles roar away, leaving nothing but dust on the dark road. The entire abduction took less than a minute. They drive to a safe house on the outskirts of Buenos Aires. Inside, they tie Eichmann to a bed and place opaque goggles over his eyes so he can't see his captors. For days, he will stay like this, hidden, guarded, while the team confirms beyond doubt that they have the right man. They interrogate him carefully. At first, Eichmann gives his false name, but when confronted with evidence, photographs, documents, he breaks. Yes, he admits, I am Adolf Eichmann, the man who had orchestrated the deportation of hundreds of thousands of Hungarian Jews in 1944 alone. The man who had sat in the Wannsee conference and helped plan the final solution. He's been found. Now comes the harder part, getting him out of Argentina. The team has to keep Eichmann hidden for 9 days while they arrange his exit. Argentina would never allow his extradition. If the Argentine authorities discover the kidnapping, it could trigger an international crisis. The agents rotate in shifts, guarding him, feeding him, keeping him sedated. Israel's government moves quickly. They coordinate with El Al, Israel's national airline, to schedule a special flight. The cover story is perfect. An El Al delegation is flying to Argentina to participate in Argentina's 150th independence anniversary celebrations. The return flight will carry the delegation back to Israel. And hidden among them, drugged and disguised as a crew member, will be Adolf Eichmann. On May 20th, 9 days after the capture, the team moves. They dress Eichmann in an El Al uniform, sedate him heavily, and transport him to the airport. He looks like a sick crew member being helped onto the plane. His papers identify him as an injured airline worker being flown home for medical treatment. The agents escort him up the stairs, into the aircraft, and strap him into a seat in the rear. The cabin door closes. The engines roar to life. As the plane taxis down the runway, the team can barely breathe. What if Argentine police stop the plane? What if someone recognizes Eichmann? What if they're arrested for kidnapping on Argentine soil? The plane accelerates. The wheels leave the ground. Buenos Aires falls away beneath them. Only then, as the aircraft climbs into the night sky, do the agents allow themselves to believe it. They've done it. Adolf Eichmann, the bureaucrat of death, is heading to Jerusalem. When the plane lands in Israel on May 22nd, Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion makes the announcement to the Knesset. The chamber erupts. Adolf Eichmann, he declares, has been captured by Israeli security forces and will stand trial in Jerusalem for crimes against the Jewish people and crimes against humanity. The news ricochets around the world. Argentina protests the violation of its sovereignty. The United Nations debates Israel's actions. Some call it kidnapping. Others call it justice. But Israel is undeterred. Eichmann will face trial in the place where his victims came from, in the nation built by Holocaust survivors. The trial begins in April 1961, in a specially built courtroom in Jerusalem. Eichmann sits in a bulletproof glass booth, listening through headphones as survivor after survivor takes the stand. They describe the camps, the selections, the gas chambers, the crematoria. They describe the loss of their families, their children, their entire worlds. Eichmann's defense is chilling in its banality. He claims he was just following orders, just doing his job, just a small cog in a vast machine. But the evidence is overwhelming. Documents bearing his signature, testimony from those who worked with him, his own words, recorded in conversations, boasting about his efficiency, his dedication to the task of extermination. The trial lasts 4 months. The testimonies are broadcast on radio, heard around the world. For many, it's the first time they truly understand the scale of the Holocaust, the systematic nature of the genocide, the bureaucratic precision with which millions were murdered. On December 15, 1961, the court delivers its verdict, guilty on all counts. Eichmann is sentenced to death, the only death sentence ever carried out by the State of Israel. On May 31, 1962, just after midnight, Adolf Eichmann is hanged. His body is cremated, and his ashes scattered at sea beyond Israel's territorial waters, so that no place on earth would serve as his grave. The capture of Adolf Eichmann remains one of the most daring intelligence operations in history. It showed the world that the hunters of Nazi war criminals would not give up, would not forget, would cross continents and risk everything to bring them to justice. It demonstrated that there would be no refuge, no statute of limitations, no escape for those who had orchestrated the murder of millions. The operation also sparked debates that continue today. Was it legal? Was it justified? Did the ends justify the means? But for the survivors who testified at that trial, for the families of those who perished, the answer was clear. Eichmann had evaded justice for 15 years. Now, finally, he would answer for his crimes. The Mossad agents who carried out the mission rarely spoke of it publicly. They melted back into their lives, their identities protected. but they knew what they had accomplished. They had reached across the world, plucked a mass murderer from his hiding place, and brought him to face the consequences of his actions. In the end, the capture of Adolf Eichmann was more than just an intelligence operation. It was a statement. It was the Jewish people saying, "We remember, we will not forget, and we will ensure that the world does not forget either. Justice may be delayed, but it will come, even if it takes 15 years, even if it requires crossing an ocean, even if it means risking everything." The man who organized the trains to Auschwitz would finally answer for his crimes, and the world would watch.